Hello and welcome to another episode of With Love Mama, the podcast. Before we get into this topic, I would love to invite you to follow my show, subscribe to my show, share it with a friend, share it with a mum who needs to hear this, especially if you have a pregnant friend who is, getting close to postpartum. This is a great episode. This is something I wish I had before I went into postpartum because it's so easy to say, just ask for help. But this advice sounds supportive, but it's actually just setting up women to fail in their postpartum. So we're going to go through this. I'm going to share a little bit about my own journey because this episode landed for me so deeply lands for me so deeply, this topic, because I had this exact issue in my postpartum, and it was a struggle for me because it's really hard to ask for help and support when you already have so much on your plate. When you enter postpartum, and this isn't me making it like it's hard, but it's a very big shift. It's a shift in your home environment. It's a shift in your identity. It's a shift in your dynamic of your relationship. It's a shift in so many areas and in so many different layers. So if you have to ask for help, it's not recognized that you need help. You have to ask for this help. It is more mental, like it's harder to ask, is what I'm going to say. I found it harder to ask for help because that then put the responsibility onto me. Oh, I have to ask if I am needing help. And this is how so many women feel. They feel as though it's an extra responsibility that they're holding. Then they have to identify what they need, delegate what they need, explain why they need it, and then manage it being done. And so how does that make a woman feel supported? It actually doesn't. It's actually putting her in a management role of the home or the environment or whatever she needs. And that is not being in, if we're going to get a little woo-woo, that's not her being in her feminine and receiving support. It is actually her being in her masculine and structuring the support she needs rather than someone else taking the lead and being in the masculine and actually just supporting what the woman or the mother needs. So like that in itself, I feel, is a huge reason why a lot of mums do not ask for help, because you feel like you're being a burden. Other people have other things going on. It's feeling like easier to just actually get the thing done, even though you should be recovering and being held and supported by those around you. And also, I think a really big story is like I should just be able to do this, because society's really painted this picture of that women should just get back into it, like straight back into it. It's like the first 6 weeks and then bang, where's the bounce back? And if the bounce back isn't there, we focus so heavily on that, and it's just like this, I should be able to do it. And then if you can't do it, you feel as though you're failing, and it's this whole big spiral, which actually can be completely removed. This spiral doesn't even need to come into play if, instead of a woman being told just to ask for help, the support is actually readily available in a supportive way for however that woman needs. And like, we're going to get into all of this because, like I said, I had my own iteration of this in my first postpartum, and I've taken a lot of wisdom from that. I'm glad that my first postpartum was the way it was, although in the moment it felt quite a lot, it felt quite heavy. I'm really grateful because it's given me so much wisdom to take into the work I am now doing as a doula, but it's also given me so much wisdom going into my next postpartum and how to support, even just friends in the space of postpartum and pregnancy and all of the things. So yeah, that's like a huge reason I think like a lot of women don't ask, because it's like, it's actually just feels like a bigger problem to ask. It just feels like a bigger thing. And I feel too, you don't even know what you need sometimes. Sometimes you are like, you will feel so overwhelmed and there's so much going on. You're learning to breastfeed, you're waking up through the night to your child, you're physically recovering. So help doesn't really touch like the actual pressure points because you don't even know what you need. I also want to bring in that when people are visiting, it doesn't actually mean like they're supporting either. So I think like this is a great point if you are potentially listening and you haven't entered postpartum yet and you're just listening because you're like, oh, I want to help a friend. When you're visiting a mum, your presence isn't necessarily help. Sometimes it's actually just like more. So that's also just something like, I think it's always nice, like when a visitor comes and they offer to do something around the house or offer to hold the baby so mum can have a shower, and sort of step into that more like, we're your village, we're holding you. And that's what actually giving support, in that you're taking initiative. I can see the mum needs this, is going to, that actually is way more supportive than just coming going, hey, what do you need? Did you need me to bring anything? Like those sort of like questions, like a mum's not going to ask. Like she might be craving a cappuccino from her local cafe and like a ham and cheese croissant and like a foot rub, but like she's not going to say that, because like why would she? She's doing fine without it. Yes, she's overwhelmed, she's stressed, things are feeling a lot, but asking is actually harder. And that's just like a huge part. And yeah, like I said, I had my own iterations of this. So the real issue, like I've kind of already touched on, is it's not that the mum doesn't need help, and it's not that like her not asking means she doesn't need help. It just means we've normalized isolation motherhood. We've absolutely normalized that we don't need a village, or that we can do it without a village. The partners, like, often don't know how to lead the support. I know in my own scenario with this is I take care of the homely duties, and that is just what works really well in our dynamic. Jai provides, and I love to be the carer of the home, the inside of the home. So that is well and good, but like I said, the dynamic can shift, and especially in those early postpartum days, it can be really hard for a partner to know how to step in and help. And I will say Jai was absolutely incredible. He would do things like wash the bottles and get the washing on and do all the things, and he knew how to do things, but it was just like I had to let go of like also letting him do it in his own way, because we do it differently, but also like he didn't fully know how to like lead in that. Like it would be like he'd get a few things done, then he'd be like, oh, is there anything else that you would like done? And he would ask it in a way of, I want to take, like he would say, I want to take the pressure off you, is there anything that you need? But again, it was asking me. And going into our next postpartum, I just know that he already knows how to lead, because we have done a lot of work on our relationship in this, like since we've had our first son. And also he already, like, the dynamic shifted. And although I am still like quote unquote the housewife, he knows how to, he recognizes what brings me more stress and what doesn't now. And he recognizes this is going to actually take a plate off her. Plate off her. Oh my God, it's weight off her shoulders, not plate off her shoulders. What the actual hell am I talking about? Like, for example, folding. Girl hates a folding session. Doesn't matter if I put YouTube on, doesn't matter if I have a podcast playing, it doesn't matter. I am just not a folder. It's not in my skill set as a human. I mean, I can do it, but like I really don't want to do it. So that is something that Jai really often now, he'll just like go in and just get the folding done and be like, what are you doing? And he'll be like, oh, I've just noticed you're feeling a bit stressed today. I'm getting this sorted. Even though he's been at work all day. Some people, that might be like bare minimum. For our relationship, I like to get things done. So it's really nice when he does do it and recognizes, and that's him taking the lead. Anyway, I'm literally getting lost in a little tangent about folding, and I just hate it. Like, surely I'm not the only one. But yeah, when no one's like actually assigned like certain responsibilities for the postpartum mum, it's actually just immediately assigned to the mum. So this is where like bringing in like pre-planned support systems before birth are actually like really, really, really beneficial. And it doesn't have to be like written on a roster. It doesn't have to be like anything hectic, but it can just be like, okay, I know my mum-in-law would love to cook for me. I know my own mum would love to check in with me emotionally, like every couple of days or every day, or come stay for a little while. And I know that my partner completely would love to like manage the home. I don't know, just as an example. We ended up actually getting a cleaner as well, which was super, super helpful. I know not everyone's in that position, but if you are, I highly recommend having like some sort of house support, even a doula. It is like super supportive just for someone to come in, touch base on all of those little things, and then the mum doesn't have to think about it. But yeah, it doesn't have to be this roster of people. It doesn't have to be rigid. It doesn't have to be this structured, it has to go this way, like plan, just like your birth plan. It's just a plan. It's a compass to follow, right? So having people who are going to be cooking for the fresh parents is excellent. I know as well, we did have this in place and it was great. But I remember Jai being like, oh, but like, I love cooking. Like, he loves cooking. And he was like, I'm happy to just cook. I'm happy to clean. Like, he was like, no, I don't think we really need this. And then when we actually were in the postpartum, he was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was going to be so tired as well. So that's also something to keep in mind. Like, sometimes your partner might be like, no, like, we're good, because they're not the one going through the birth and everything. But it's a huge adjustment for you both. So if you have that support around you, to have someone else handling your meals, it could even just be for like the first week or two. Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. There are some really great postpartum meal services available, I know, around the Sunshine Coast. I'm sure in your area as well. Just look them up. Like, there's home delivery meal services. There's frozen like meals, like prepackaged for postpartum. Two I can think of are Golden Mama Meals and the Whole Bowl Co. They're two that like home deliver and everything. So definitely look into those. It's also really good, like I said, to have someone who checks in emotionally with the mum, because, like I said, people can come visit, but are people willing to go deep and actually let the mum share her birth story for the sixth time, or give her a hug and tell her, like, what, not even ask what do you need, but like give her a hug and tell her, like, you're doing so well. Like, is there anything that you need to get off your chest? Like, just that emotional check-in, that holding of space. Sometimes it doesn't even need to be a question or a conversation. Sometimes it can just be that you're there and you've really like let the mum know, look, I am here. Open up if you need to. I can just sit with you and have a tea. Make her the tea. Don't let her host. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Okay. We also want someone who manages the home. Like I said, hold on. I thought I heard Kodak waking up from his nap, but I was just hearing things, which happens all the time. We want someone managing the home. Like I said, cleaner. A doula can actually cover all three of these roles, by the way. I wouldn't have a doula doing all three at full capacity, but just remembering, like, that's where a doula comes in really great, with like some meals delivered to the home, some tidying up, and definitely heavy on the emotional check-ins from the doula. So remembering that as well, if you are thinking you would just like a little bit of more support, or potentially you live away from family and you and your partner feel confident but you would love some just extra support, a doula, 100%. But someone who manages the home, so this might be your partner, this might be getting a house cleaner, just someone who can keep on top of it so the mum can actually recover and rest. And this doesn't mean it has to be the home getting kept so incredibly tidy that you can't see a speck of dust. It's not about that. It's just about the capacity and what the mother feels comfortable in, because some people are okay if like the floors aren't vacuumed but the kitchen has to be done. Or some people might want all of their windows spotless, shiny clean, bathroom shiny clean, but the kitchen doesn't have to be done. So it's actually also just like, as the mum, you know what your standard is of your home, and to like, we want to think of our home. How do we like our home to feel when we are feeling clear and emotionally not cluttered, and kind of just have that standard for your home. Obviously it can waver. Like, it's not about being perfect. It's just like, who can actually meet that standard for you so that you're not up cleaning, moving, doing all the things. I will add though, like, I do love cleaning. It's very therapeutic for me. So like, that might be you as well, but it's just like, the deep cleaning. That's what I'm trying to get to. Because we want support as well. Like these three pillars, like I've just touched on, like we want support that is actually proactive, not reactive. So support that's not going to, like, for example, how I said Jai would do something and then I'd be like, you're doing it wrong. Bitch, sit the fuck down. Like, we don't want that reactive support. Like, we want to have these conversations prior. And like I said, I learned so much from my first postpartum, and now moving into it, I'm like, hey, actually everyone can just do things differently. So that's just also important. Like, if you're a bit of a control freak, like I tend to be, maybe just having those conversations of like, this is how I like things to be done, or maybe just not watching them when they're doing it. Because I feel like I was doing that a little bit. I was a little bit of hovering a little bit, because I was like, oh my God, it felt really out of place for me not to clean as well, because I'm like, well, that's what I like to do. That's what I usually do. Deep breath as usual. Another way you can support a mum when she's in postpartum is actually, like I said before, offering the specific help. Like, not being like if you're visiting, not just being like, oh, is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can bring? Erase that, please. And just say, hey, I'm going to well, firstly, okay, being like, hey, okay, so, oh my gosh, twice I just absolutely did not make sense. Okay, we're going to roll with that again. You may have plans to go over on a Wednesday evening to see the family, okay? Instead of being like, hey, did you guys want me to bring dinner? What would you like? No, no, we're not doing that. We're going to say, hey, I'm going to bring dinner Wednesday. Perfect. And honestly, if you're visiting a mum that early in postpartum, you should know what she likes to eat. If not, stay clear for a little bit, please. Another one, like I said, I'm going to hold the baby, go have a shower. Also, if that actually doesn't feel comfortable for the mum, we're not going to enforce these things, because that is also okay, right? That is also okay. But it's actually just offering specific help. And also in that, really, I want to reiterate as a doula. I want to, from me to you, say, you are not meant to do this alone. Women were never doing this alone. Like, we used to have a village. We used to actually have, in our little communities, there'd be specific little roles for everyone, and no one was doing all of the things. It was not happening that a mother would birth a child, be the sole nutrition support for the child, clean their home, host people, like all of these things, hunt, gather, all the things, right? Like, we didn't do it all the way we do it now. And it's a lot. And we've really normalized it. We've really normalized the isolation in motherhood. We've really normalized doing it alone and struggling and it being hard and then not talking about it. We've really normalized it, and it's not normal, right? Okay. Needing support doesn't mean that you're failing. Needing support isn't you not being a good mum or not handling it. Needing support is actually biologically necessary. And a lot of us love to be independent. We love to show that we're great and that we're healing quickly and all the things. And from me to you, from my own experience, if I could go back and just give myself a cuddle in my first postpartum and just say, just sit down, you don't need to do it all. Because people were telling me, but it's your own thing you have to go through. Like I said in, I think, last week's episode, how like your triggers, like they come up and like, that happens. Sometimes we just have that independent wound where we just want to be so independent. But I just want you to know, like, you don't have to. Because if I could go back, and I don't want to change anything, I don't regret anything, but my physical recovery took a bit longer than necessary. I was okay, but like I wasn't okay. Do you know what I mean? I was functioning fine, but then I had flare-ups of not being able to walk multiple times because my back was just giving way. And I'd never had back issues through my pregnancy. My birth was fine and trauma-free. So that was my body screaming at me, just sit the fuck down. So, just know it's actually biologically necessary that we do need support. And your only job postpartum should just be to heal, to bond with your baby, and to be held. That's all. That is literally all. And postpartum isn't just 6 weeks. You're a postpartum mum from the moment you become a mother. And just remember that as well. If you are pregnant, I think it would be really beneficial for you to build your postpartum plan just like you would your birth plan. We want something that we can follow, a loose guide, something where there's things in place to support you. And if you are postpartum, just like name one need and one person and then accept imperfect help. I accept imperfect help, please. I say that because, like I just shared before, no one's going to do it the way you do it, mama. No one's going to do it the way you do it. But it's just accepting that imperfect help. And I can support you with this in my one-on-one sessions. I can support you virtually. I can support you in your home on the Sunshine Coast or in my studio on the Sunshine Coast. Wherever we can do this. We can go through this. So it's never too late. You might be postpartum right now. You might be listening to this late at night and your baby is just not sleeping and you're just thinking, what have I gotten myself into? Like, nothing is as breezy as I expected and no one knows how to fucking help me. And that's okay. Definitely reach out. I always leave everything linked below. Or if you are seeking a space where you actually just want to be held, and that is it. Not even doing a plan. We just want to be held. I do have my upcoming event in Maroochydore, Held, a circle for mamas. This is for pregnant, postpartum, preconception mums to come along, sit in circle, have some ceremonial cacao, some meditation, some healing, some connection, and just fill up your cup. And it's not about anyone else but you. So I really hope this episode has been supportive. Listening, whether you are actually pregnant, postpartum, or you just want to listen because you want to support your mum friends, which if you're listening and you actually haven't been through a postpartum and you actually just want to know how to support your mum friend, just know you are incredible. You are amazing. We need more of you. But yeah, I just hope all of this, like remembering that it's taking the responsibility off the mum, offering her the support, not asking her what support she needs. It's having those 3 pillars covered. I thought I heard Kodak again. I'm just like phantom cries or yells. Like I think he's yelling out my name, but he's not. Anyway, yeah, we want to cover those 3 pillars: the meals, the home, the emotional check-ins. So important. Remembering that if you are pregnant, building that postpartum plan just like your birth plan. If you are postpartum, just starting small. Name one need, name one person. It could be 1 meal a week. It's going to actually really take a lot off your shoulders if you've been trying to juggle it all right now. Doing this alone is not normal. Doing this alone is not necessary. So I really hope this episode has been supportive, because I just truly believe that new mums don't need any more, there's no more advice. You don't need better advice becoming a new mum. You just need better support systems. And having that plan or putting that plan in motion is actually going to be that for you, the better support system. If you loved this episode, please share it with a friend. It helps this podcast grow. It helps this community grow. It helps other mums to not feel isolated, which is exactly what we want. We love a village moment. If you haven't already, rate the show on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. That really also supports me and this podcast. And yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And I just love you. We have another birth story coming this Friday, so stay tuned for that as well. Very exciting times now having these birth story guests on, guest episodes on a Friday, but I've got quite a few birth stories upcoming. If you want to share your birth story, please don't hesitate to apply. I do have the application link, which I will be leaving below all birth story episodes. But that is pretty much it. If you'd like to come to my event in Maroochydore on the 11th of April, link is below. Would love to have you there. It's going to be such a beautiful, intimate, just sacred space, which we love. I'll be back in your ears Friday with a guest, and I love you, and bye.